On a busy Wednesday afternoon at a hospital in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, Caroline Williams finished her final notes on a patient's chart and glanced at her watch. It was almost 4 o'clock, time for her son Aiden to return from school. Though he had become a latchkey kid who could spend about an hour alone at the age of 10, Caroline always worried. "Caroline, you can leave early today. You're starting your vacation tomorrow, right?" The head nurse Martha approached with a smile. With her soft silver hair neatly arranged in a chignon, she had been working in this busy pediatric ward for over 20 years. "Thank you, Martha. I really appreciate it," Caroline responded with a grateful smile. "My head is full with my sister's wedding preparations. That's a special day. You must be looking forward to it." Caroline's expression clouded briefly, but she quickly composed herself. "Yes, of course." Her sister Jennifer was scheduled to marry her longtime boyfriend Michael Hamilton on Saturday. They had been college sweethearts, and initially Caroline had blessed their relationship. But meeting Michael's mother Beverly had changed everything. "Mom, I'm home." When she arrived at home, Aiden had already returned. His cheerful voice echoed through the small living room of their apartment. Caroline welcomed her son's embrace and stroked his brown hair. Aiden had begun losing his front teeth, giving his smile a distinctive gap. He resembled his father Thomas, with large brown eyes and keen powers of observation. He had an especially acute sense of smell and could detect the aroma of Caroline's chocolate chip cookies from the doorway. "How was school today?" Caroline asked as she set down her bag. "My science fair project was selected. I'm going to do an experiment about smell," Aiden answered proudly. Caroline gently patted her son's head. "That's wonderful. Why don't you tell your father about it?" Aiden's expression clouded momentarily. "Yes, but Dad might be busy." Caroline and Thomas had divorced 5 years ago. With a sales job that took him across the country, he had gradually distanced himself from the family. When Aiden was 5, Thomas had left, saying he didn't want to be tied down by family anymore. Now, monthly visitations and child support payments were the only things connecting them. The phone rang, and Caroline sighed. The display showed "Mom." "Hello, Caroline." Elizabeth Foster's voice was full of authority even over the phone. A former high school teacher, she still sometimes spoke to her 2 daughters in a teacher's tone. "Don't forget there's a rehearsal dinner tomorrow evening." "Of course, Mom. I've already prepared Aiden's suit. Can that boy behave himself? He won't cause a scene at the wedding, will he?" Elizabeth's voice revealed her concern. Caroline frowned. "Aiden is a very good child. There won't be any problems." "Yes, of course. I'm just worried Beverly might say something. She can be quite difficult, you know." Just hearing Beverly's name made Caroline tense. Michael's mother was a typical upper-class woman, always dressed in luxury brands and wearing her distinctive Chanel perfume. When they first met, Beverly had looked Caroline and Aiden up and down as if appraising them and remarked,
"Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with Reddit stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious."
"It must be difficult being a single mother." "It'll be fine, Mom. Everything will go smoothly," Caroline tried to reassure her mother. After hanging up, Caroline watched Aiden working on his homework on his tablet. While showering and changing, she recalled a text message from her sister, "Beverly wants to change the dress code. I think we're going to have another fight." Jennifer was also struggling with her relationship with Beverly. With Michael's success at his real estate company, Beverly always thought, "Only the best partner is worthy of my son." Jennifer, a teacher, apparently didn't have sufficient social status in Beverly's eyes. Standing in the kitchen, Caroline took a deep breath. She needed to avoid conflict with Beverly to ensure her dear sister's wedding wasn't ruined. For Aiden's sake too, she needed to maintain peace. The upscale restaurant in Brooklyn Heights owned by Michael's parents was decorated with deep red roses and crystal chandeliers for the rehearsal dinner. The windows offered a panoramic view of the Manhattan skyline, captivating the guests. Caroline wore a navy cocktail dress and adjusted Aiden's bow tie. He looked like a little gentleman but seemed somewhat uneasy. "Mom, is Aunt Beverly coming too?" Aiden asked quietly. Caroline placed her hand on her son's shoulder. "Yes, but don't worry. Tonight is a special evening for Aunt Jennifer and Uncle Michael. Let's all keep smiling, okay?" As they entered the venue, Jennifer hurried over. Her golden hair was elegantly styled up, and her pale pink dress accentuated her blue eyes. "Caroline." "Aiden." "Thank you for coming." Jennifer hugged her sister and kissed Aiden's cheek. "Aiden, have you practiced being the ring bearer?" Aiden nodded. "Yes, I practiced walking down the aisle and standing with the ring pillow, everything." "Wonderful," Jennifer smiled, but her eyes couldn't hide her worry. "Are you okay?" Caroline gently squeezed her sister's arm. Jennifer sighed. "I'm just worried Beverly might say something again." Her words were interrupted by an approaching figure accompanied by the strong scent of expensive perfume. "Jennifer, that dress looks better than I expected. But for the wedding day, shouldn't you choose something more elegant?" Beverly Hamilton's voice always had a critic's sharpness. Her grayish blonde hair was pulled taut, and her emerald green dress was clearly from a high-end designer. "Thank you, Beverly. But my wedding dress is already decided," Jennifer answered gently but firmly. Beverly looked at Caroline and offered a thin smile. "Caroline, you look well. Child rearing alone must be difficult." Caroline maintained her composure. "Aiden is a wonderful child. We're happy together." Beverly's gaze shifted to Aiden. "Oh, is this your son?" "Michael doesn't have children yet, but in the future, they'll surely grow up in a more stable home environment." She paused momentarily as if choosing her words. Caroline bit her lip. She felt Aiden squeeze her hand tightly. "Beverly, shall we begin?" Michael's father Robert intervened. He had the same gentle eyes as Michael and always tried to soften his wife's sharp remarks. As dinner began, the conversation at the table flowed seemingly peacefully. Elizabeth reminisced about how Jennifer and Michael met, while Caroline kept an eye on Aiden to make sure he didn't spill his soup. However, when the main course was served, Beverly spoke up again. "Jennifer, do you truly understand how exceptional my son is?" she said while elegantly swirling her wine glass. "He sold $30 million worth of real estate just last year. The kind of wife suitable for such a man." "Mother," Michael quietly but firmly interrupted. "Jennifer is perfect for me. What more could I possibly want?" "I'm only thinking of you, Michael," Beverly smiled at her son. "A partner worthy of your social status." "Jennifer is an excellent teacher," Elizabeth interjected. "She positively influences many children's lives." Beverly shrugged. "Of course, teaching is a respectable profession. It's just that in Michael's world." Caroline gripped her napkin tightly. She noticed Aiden fidgeting uncomfortably in his chair beside her. "I need to go to the bathroom," Aiden said in a small voice. "It's over there." Caroline pointed toward the hallway and watched her son leave the table. After Aiden left, Beverly lowered her tone. Is that child properly disciplined? Getting up during a meal. Aiden is an extremely well-mannered child, Caroline replied calmly. He just needed to use the bathroom. I'm sure that's the case, Beverly offered a meaningful smile. But you know, children need both parents. With just one parent, there will inevitably be something lacking. That's quite rude, Caroline's voice was quiet but sharp. I provide everything Aiden needs. Caroline, Beverly gave her a sympathetic look. I don't need to hear that from a divorced woman raising a child alone. I heard your husband married another woman. He must have been seeking a more stable relationship. Silence fell around the table. Caroline felt the blood drain from her face. She hadn't expected her divorce to be mentioned so publicly. Beverly. Elizabeth's voice trembled with anger. You've gone too far. I'm just stating facts, Beverly replied coolly. Aiden returned at that moment. He noticed his mother's changed complexion and sat down beside her anxiously. Mom, are you okay? Caroline tried to smile at her son but felt tears welling in her eyes. I'm fine, Aiden. Jennifer took Caroline's hand. Sis, don't mind her. She turned to Beverly and said, tomorrow is Michael's and my day. I want everyone to be happy. The rest of dinner proceeded in a tense atmosphere. As they were leaving, Aiden had accidentally overheard what Beverly had said about him and his mother. His young heart was filled with a mixture of sadness and anger. Mom, Aiden asked as they got into the car, am I a bad kid? Caroline hugged her son tightly. Absolutely not. You're the most wonderful child in the world. Tomorrow is an important day, so don't worry about what that woman says. As Aiden buried his face against his mother's chest, he remembered Beverly's distinctive perfume scent. That overpowering fragrance had been deeply imprinted on his keen sense of smell. On Saturday morning, under clear skies, St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan gleamed in the morning sunlight. When Caroline and Aiden entered the preparation room, they were greeted by Jennifer, already busy getting ready. She was dressed in a pure white wedding gown, with makeup artists putting the finishing touches on her. Jenny, you look like an angel, Caroline exclaimed in genuine admiration. Jennifer smiled nervously. Really? Oh, I can't believe this day has finally come. Aiden, wide-eyed at his aunt's beauty, whispered, she looks like a princess. Caroline sat down beside Jennifer and took her hand. Nervous? A little, Jennifer admitted. But I'm incredibly happy to be marrying Michael. Her expression suddenly turned serious. Last night must have been difficult for you, because of Beverly. Caroline waved her hand dismissively. Don't worry about it. Today is your day. Aiden and I are fine. The door opened, and Elizabeth entered. She wore a pale lavender dress with her hair elegantly styled. Jennifer. You look wonderful, she kissed her daughter's cheek. Oh, where did you put the rings? Jennifer pointed to the makeup table. Over there. They're in a case. Elizabeth approached the table and picked up a small blue velvet box. Both the engagement ring and wedding ring are in here, right? Yes, Jennifer nodded. I wanted to keep them both safe. Elizabeth opened the case but suddenly her expression hardened. Jennifer, the engagement ring is missing. What? Jennifer jumped up and took the case from her mother's hands. The color drained from her face. The diamond engagement ring, it's gone. Caroline quickly went to her sister's side. Stay calm. We'll find it if we look. But it was just here a moment ago. Jennifer's voice trembled. It was Michael's first gift to me. I was planning to wear it for the ceremony today. The three women desperately began searching the room. Aiden also crawled on the floor, looking under tables and sofas. But the ring wasn't found. Do you think someone took it? Elizabeth's voice was tinged with panic. Mom, that can't be. Caroline tried to remain calm. It probably just fell somewhere. But who? Elizabeth looked around. Only our family has entered this room. At that moment, her eyes turned to Aiden. The boy had been peering under a corner sofa but raised his head as if feeling Elizabeth's gaze. Aiden. Elizabeth's voice suddenly turned cold. Do you know something about this? Aiden shook his head in confusion. I don't. Aiden, if you played with the ring, tell us right now. Elizabeth approached him. Did you hide it as a joke? Mom. Caroline grabbed her mother's arm. Don't blame Aiden. He didn't do anything. But we're the only ones who came into this room. And children sometimes play with things without understanding their value. It wasn't me, Aiden said in a small voice. I didn't touch any ring. Just then, the door opened and one of the bridesmaids looked in. The ceremony starts in 15 minutes. How is everything? Her words were cut short by the tense atmosphere in the room. Is something wrong? Jennifer's engagement ring is missing, Caroline explained. That's terrible. The bridesmaid looked shocked. Is there anything I can do to help? No, we'll find it ourselves, Jennifer answered with a shaky voice. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want to worry Michael. The bridesmaid nodded and closed the door again. We don't have much time, Elizabeth couldn't hide her anxiety. At this rate. Suddenly, voices were heard from the hallway. Jennifer, how are the preparations going? It was Beverly's voice. The door opened, and Beverly entered. She was dressed in a sophisticated pearl gray dress with a luxurious diamond necklace. The strong scent of her perfume filled the room. What happened? Everyone looks pale. Jennifer's engagement ring is missing, Elizabeth explained. Oh my, how terrible. Beverly showed a surprised expression, but something else flickered in her eyes. We must find it. That diamond was 3 carats, wasn't it? Michael said he specially selected it. Jennifer's face grew even paler. Did you ask him? Beverly looked at Aiden. Children do like shiny things. Aiden didn't do anything, Caroline said firmly. Elizabeth, however, showed increasing panic. Aiden, tell us honestly one more time. Did you play with the ring? Was it meant to be a prank? No. Aiden cried out. I didn't touch it. As tension in the room mounted, Elizabeth suddenly grabbed Aiden's arm. Show me your pockets. Mom, stop it. Caroline protested. Aiden, with tears welling in his eyes, took his hands out of his pockets. He wasn't holding anything. You stole it. Elizabeth's voice echoed throughout the room. Her hand rose, and a sharp slap landed on Aiden's cheek. The sound of the slap froze everyone in the room. Large tears spilled from Aiden's eyes. A red mark remained on his cheek. Mother! Caroline cried out, immediately embracing Aiden. How could you do that? Elizabeth seemed to have come to her senses after her action, but her anger hadn't completely subsided. The precious ring is gone. This child must have played a prank. Aiden sobbed against his mother's chest and said in a small voice, "Mom, it wasn't me." Caroline stroked her son's hair and gently said, "I know, Aiden. It's not your fault." Aiden slowly raised his face. A look of determination appeared on his tear-stained face. He slowly raised his trembling finger and pointed to a spot in the room. "I can smell her perfume, where the ring was." All eyes turned in the direction Aiden was pointing, toward Beverly Hamilton. The room fell completely silent. Beverly maintained her composure, tilting her head in surprise. What is this child saying?" "Aiden doesn't lie," Caroline slowly stood up. "And his sense of smell is extremely acute." Aiden explained in a small voice, "That table, where the case was. I can smell Aunt Beverly's perfume there. I remembered it from dinner yesterday." The atmosphere in the room grew even heavier. Everyone stared at Beverly, and no one could speak. "What are you talking about?" Beverly's voice was calm, but her eyes revealed anxiety. "You're going to believe a child's nonsense." Caroline placed her hand on Aiden's shoulder. "My son does not lie. If he says he smells perfume, then that's the truth." Jennifer covered her face with trembling hands. "I can't believe this is happening. This is ridiculous." Beverly raised her voice. "Why would I need to take Jennifer's ring? Such a ridiculous idea. I won't be criticized by someone who hit my son." Caroline's voice was quiet but firm. "My son has a very sensitive nose. His science fair project is about that. Aiden is not the kind of child who lies." As tension in the room escalated, the door opened, and Michael appeared. Already dressed in his tuxedo, he looked tense. "What's going on?" "It's time for the ceremony to start." His eyes moved between the sobbing Aiden, the pale Jennifer, and Caroline and Beverly facing off. "What's happening?" "Michael," Jennifer said in a trembling voice, "my engagement ring, it's gone." "What?" Michael entered the room in surprise. "How?" "We thought it might be a child's prank." Elizabeth began, but Caroline interrupted her. "Aiden didn't do anything. He said he could smell Beverly's perfume where the ring had been." A look of confusion spread across Michael's face. He looked at his mother. "Mom? This is absurd," Beverly shrugged. "Why would I do such a thing?" Michael paused in thought for a moment, and his expression changed. A look of determination appeared in his eyes. "Mom, would you show me your handbag?" "What?" Beverly stepped back. "You don't believe me either." "I just want to check." Michael's voice was gentle but resolute. "If there's nothing, we can look elsewhere." Beverly stared at her son, and emotions she'd never shown before appeared in her eyes. "I was only thinking of your happiness." "Mom," Michael's voice was low and trembling. "Show me the bag." The room fell silent, as if time had stopped. Beverly finally let out a deep sigh and clutched her designer handbag to her chest. "What will this prove?" Michael slowly approached his mother and reached out his hand. Beverly reluctantly handed over the bag. Michael opened it and searched inside. The moment his hand touched an inner pocket of the bag, his face hardened. In a frozen moment, Michael pulled out a small, sparkling diamond ring from the bag. It was Jennifer's engagement ring. "Mom." His voice contained deep sadness. Beverly lost her composure but was still resisting. "This is a mistake. I didn't take it. Someone must have put it in my bag." No one has been near your bag, Jennifer said. Her face showed anger and sadness. Beverly looked around. She seemed to realize she was isolated. She stammered. Michael exhaled deeply. Why, Mom? Why would you do this? Suddenly, Beverly's strong exterior crumbled. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't want to lose you, her voice trembled. I didn't want that woman to take my son away. Take me away. Michael looked incredulous. Mom, this is my choice. Jennifer is becoming part of my life. That doesn't mean my relationship with you is over. But she's not worthy of you. Beverly's voice was desperate. You could be with someone better. Enough, Michael said quietly but forcefully. Jennifer is exactly who I want. There is no one better than her. He approached Jennifer and placed the engagement ring in her hand. I'm sorry, he whispered. About my mother. Jennifer nodded slightly. There was sadness in her eyes, but also forgiveness. Michael turned back to Beverly. Mom, I don't want you to attend the ceremony today. The color drained from Beverly's face. Michael, that's... Please, Michael's voice was soft but determined. Let's keep some distance for now. You need time to think about your actions. The room fell silent. Beverly slowly shook her head and picked up her handbag. She hesitated for a moment but began walking toward the door. At the threshold, she turned back and looked at Aiden. Complex emotions flickered in her eyes. After she left, Caroline hugged Aiden tightly. It's okay, brave boy, she whispered. Elizabeth approached them, looking ashamed. Aiden, I'm sorry, her voice was full of remorse. Grandma was wrong. Aiden nodded slightly. Tears still stained his cheeks, but a new light shone in his eyes. Michael knelt before Aiden. You showed true courage, he gently patted the boy's shoulder. Thank you, Aiden. Jennifer put the ring on her finger and took a deep breath. Well, shall we start the wedding? She smiled. Before leaving the preparation room, Caroline gently caressed Aiden's cheek. You are my pride, she said softly. I'm proud of your courage and honesty. Aiden smiled at his mother. Mom, are you okay? Yes, Caroline stroked her son's hair. I'm okay. As they left the preparation room, the sound of the pipe organ began to fill the cathedral. The ceremony was a little delayed, but now their hearts were light. The truth had been revealed, and justice had prevailed. Walking down the church aisle, Caroline held Aiden's small hand firmly. A year later, in early summer, barbecue smoke rose in a lush Brooklyn backyard. Family had gathered in the garden of Jennifer and Michael's new home. Caroline, holding a pitcher of lemonade, joined the conversation with a smile. Sis, have some more salad, Jennifer said, gently rubbing her abdomen. Her small 5-month pregnant belly showed its roundness under her loose summer dress. You're going to be a mother soon, Caroline smiled. I can't believe it. Me neither, Jennifer laughed. But I feel strong because you're here. You've always been a wonderful mother. Caroline gazed across the garden at Aiden. He was receiving cooking instructions from Michael with a serious expression in front of the grill. Over the past year, Aiden had built a special bond with Michael. That boy has really grown up well, Elizabeth sat down beside her. Since the incident a year ago, she had spent much time repairing her relationship with Aiden. Now she took him to movies every weekend and visited science museums together. Yes, Caroline smiled. He's become strong. He won first place at the school science fair with that smell experiment. The doorbell rang, and Jennifer stood up. Probably Beverly, her voice contained a hint of tension. Michael's mother had been receiving counseling since that day. The first few months had been difficult, but Beverly had begun to change little by little. Today was the first time she had been invited to a family gathering. When Jennifer escorted Beverly to the garden, a moment of silence fell. Beverly was dressed more simply than before, and there was no strong perfume scent. Her eyes held a mixture of anxiety and hope. "Hello, everyone," she said quietly. Michael approached and gave his mother a light kiss. "Thank you for coming, Mom." Beverly's gaze turned to Aiden. She slowly approached the boy. "Aiden," her voice was soft. "I want to apologize to you. That day. I'm ashamed of my actions. Will you forgive me?" Aiden stared at Beverly intently. There was a mature thoughtfulness in his young eyes. "It's okay, Aunt Beverly," he answered simply. "Family forgives each other, right, Mom?" He looked at Caroline. Caroline was touched by her son's words. "Yes, that's right," she smiled at Beverly. "Let's make a new beginning." Tears welled in Beverly's eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. As lunch began, the garden filled with conversation and laughter. Caroline watched her son and contemplated the meaning of family. It wasn't just blood ties but the ability to respect, forgive, and grow together. And that day, she found new strength within herself. She was blessed with her son Aiden, her mother Elizabeth, and her sister Jennifer. And now, their circle was expanding. Life sometimes takes unexpected directions. But Caroline truly believed that by returning to truth and love, beautiful new paths can open up even from the most difficult situations.